Welcome to WCWP Reports. I'm Elise Person, and this program is dedicated to bringing you interesting and compelling stories produced by journalism and broadcasting students of Long Island University's Post campus. This week, a racial struggle grows in a Long Island neighborhood. Jada Butler brings us the story. Dylan Ballack tells us about sharks in Long Island waters, and Andrew Scarpacci brings us up to date about coronavirus in pro sports. One Valley Stream woman lives in fear after facing racial discrimination from her neighbors. Jada Butler reports.
Jennifer McLegan, a single Black mother and registered nurse living in Valley Stream, is a victim of racial harassment and attacks by two of her neighbors since purchasing her home 3 years ago. After gathering video evidence of the attacks, McLegan filed a harassment claim against neighbor Mindy Karanik and was awarded a $5,000 settlement for damages in small claims court. Yet the attacks continued. Police told McLegan that until she is physically harmed by either of her neighbors, they cannot make an arrest. McLegan went public with her situation by placing a sign on her front door with the details of the attacks and circulated it on social media. Kenrick was recorded throwing human feces and dead squirrels on McLegan's property and has told her to go back to where she came from, among other racial slurs. A blowtorch was taken to her home at 3 a.m. McLegan was also told that she can be erased and that they can get rid of her and her cameras. Another neighbor, John McNeely, was recorded walking around his backyard with guns pointed at McLegan's home. McLegan's sign reads, "I live in fear for my life at home. You will hear prayers coming from my home. I apologize for the noise. Thank you." While writing the sign, McLegan listened to the Atomic Prayer by Dr. Cindy Trim. McLegan's prayers were answered by one Black man who rose to protect her. Anthony Huron, who goes by Flo349 on social media, reached out to McLegan after seeing her post on Twitter, and within an hour he got into contact with her and immediately offered his help. He stands watch outside McLegan's house every night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and has been doing so for 20 days and counting.
Every day that we sit out there, it's pretty much like having a protest. Because somebody's going to ask why they sitting there. Look at the sign on the door, and it creates awareness. It also creates a form of protection. And it's also shining a light on the fact that we shouldn't have to do this. This should definitely be the police's job or the county, something. It should light on that too.
An entire community of diverse supporters follow in Huron's footsteps. They take shifts throughout the night, either in groups or individually. Huron says the most important part is that they establish a presence on that block. As long as someone is there, they can make a difference. At a peaceful protest on July 16th under the hashtag #StandWithJennifer, McLegan shared to a crowd of supporters how police handled her situation.
For those out there saying, well, why didn't she call the police? They did call the police on numerous occasions and informed them that this neighbor was shooting across my yard, and the police got upset and they asked me, well, were you shot? Did he hurt you? Did he aim the gun at you? They told me, stop calling. We would have to try and get along. I was left alone, single, and so fearful of becoming another hashtag. I didn't want to die. My neighbors talked about erasing me and getting me eliminated. Their friends came and talked about me getting taken care of. I put the sign up that you guys all followed because I felt that everyone just wanted me to die. Everyone wanted me dead, and no one really cared. The police allowed this man and his son and his girlfriend to terrorize me and even told people concerned about my safety that I am crazy.
She says Huron and others have given her hope and strength, saying, "These brothers out here protecting me make me feel important." Huron stresses the importance of Black men rising up to protect Black women.
This is how it starts. People will think twice if they see a male presence. It's messed up that that's the case, but that's reality. That's the world that we live in. We live in a sexist world. We live in a racist world. So being a Black woman, you already got two stripes against you. So all somebody has to see, these racist people, all they have to see somebody different face on body. And they might think to themselves, I'm not going to mess with her because even if they're not there, I've seen all these multiple faces pull up on her crib at the drop of a dime. So they'll think twice. And that's really why we need each other. Nobody's going to have our back like us.
Many people have reached out to Huron after the story went viral and shared their own experiences of racial harassment. His advice to others is to follow in his footsteps. He said, "All I did was find a chair. It's not as formulaic as it seems. Get like-minded individuals and just start doing it." McLegan is receiving additional aid from the Nassau County District Attorney's Office and is being represented by attorney Benjamin Crump, who also represents George Floyd's family. McLegan's story can be followed with regular updates on Twitter at immaculates_mom and Instagram at standwithjennifer. Links to her official GoFundMe page can be found on those accounts. For WCWP Reports, I'm Jada Butler.
The warm days have Long Islanders flocking to the beaches, but the water may be more dangerous than refreshing. Dylan Valek reports.
New York beaches have recently been cleared to open at 50% capacity as the state enters stage 4 of its COVID-19 reopening plan. But just as a recent heat wave has been making the temperatures rise, many beaches are being forced to implement new rules due to a different problem: sharks. Since Monday, July 27th, 7 shark sightings have been reported off of the East Atlantic Beach, Point Lookout, and Long Beach, with another possible sighting off Jones Beach. The type of shark that has been spotted has not been confirmed, but some lifeguards believe the sightings might have been bull sharks, which are one of the most dangerous sharks to humans due to their aggressive tendencies. The sightings have led to local officials taking measures to ensure everyone's safety. In Hempstead, beachgoers will only be allowed to go as high as their waists. Meanwhile, Nassau County Executive Laura Curran announced that she has directed the Nassau County Police Department to begin enhanced patrols along the coast. 2 police helicopters will make multiple rounds along beaches to monitor wildlife movement. And if anything is spotted coming too close to the shore or displaying erratic behavior, then a notice will be put out to all beaches regardless of their jurisdiction. Even with all the safety precautions being implemented, Kern wants to remind everyone that sharks do live in the ocean and that we have no control over where they may go.
I have to remind everyone, we know this is the water. This is the home of marine life. This is where they live. And we also have to remind everyone that most sharks are not looking for trouble. And shark attacks are still extremely rare.
Nassau County Police Commissioner Patrick Ryder also spoke and encouraged anyone who goes to the beach on Long Island to stay alert and cautious. He also specified that while the county will be searching for sharks, that it is still possible for them to miss one and that you can never be 100% certain that no sharks are in the water.
That does not mean that they pass and they did not see a shark. That shark could still be there, so you have to be attentive.
Nassau County officials will continue to monitor the situation and provide updates and guidance when needed. For WCWP Reports, I'm Dylan Valek.
Coronavirus strikes Major League Baseball, the NHL is ready to play, and more college sports fall cancellations. Andrew Scarpacci reports.
Major League Baseball is seeing their first mass infection with COVID-19 in the Miami Marlins organization. We have now seen at least 18 positive cases, including 12 players and 6 staffers. The MLB canceled all Marlins games through the end of the week and will reevaluate the situation before their next scheduled game on Tuesday against the Phillies. The Phillies, who played the Marlins last week, also had their 4-game series with the Yankees canceled this week to prevent the Yankees and Orioles, who were supposed to play the Marlins, from having too long of a layoff between games. Major League Baseball scheduled games between the 2 clubs on Wednesday and Thursday at Camden Yards in Baltimore. After test results came back from the Phillies showing 2 stadium workers came down with the coronavirus, the MLB canceled the series between them and the Toronto Blue Jays. This is because they don't want anyone at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia for the time being. Canada refused to let the Blue Jays play any home games at Toronto this year because they do not want all the back and forth with all the teams across the nation's border. Kansas City Chiefs star quarterback Patrick Mahomes has just announced he will be buying a stake in the Kansas City Royals franchise. The 24-year-old was named NFL MVP in his rookie season 2 years ago and just won his first Super Bowl in February. After signing the first ever $500 million contract in sports history earlier this month, he decided to put the money into good use early and decided to become an executive in another sport he excelled at growing up. Mahomes will be the youngest owner in sports history. After the NHL announced they received no new positive test results for the coronavirus, they will go ahead as scheduled and resume play with the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs tomorrow, August 1st. The Islanders will be playing the Florida Panthers, while the Rangers will be taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Ryan Kraut is a recent graduate of LIU Post and could not be more excited to watch Islanders hockey for the first time since March. Kraut believes the NHL did a fantastic job in handling the coronavirus situation.
I think the NHL handled the shutdown and resumption of play very well. Creating East and West bubbles was absolutely the right call. The league can't risk an outbreak having teams go in and out of Canada and the United States.
Ryan would have preferred the traditional style of play, but is not opposed to the NHL's decision of a 2014 playoff bracket.
I personally would have preferred finishing the regular season, but due to the circumstances, going straight to the playoffs was the best choice, especially considering that next season is already going to start late.
Kraut feels the players will struggle getting right back into action the way they are, especially with all the time off and now going straight into the playoffs.
I think it's going to take some time for the players to get used to playing once again. They had the equivalent of an entire offseason right in the middle of the season, and to go from not playing to playoff intensity is going to be a hard transition.
Kraut is absolutely certain the Islanders have what it takes to put up a fight against the Panthers.
I think Thomas Greiss and Jordan Eberle will come up big for the Islanders in this series. Greiss has great career numbers against the Panthers, and Eberle comes up big time in the playoffs. I think the Islanders will put up a good fight against Florida. They did take the season series, and Sergei Bobrovsky has been shaky this year for Florida.
Ryan says the Islanders will have to prove they can take their success from early on into the postseason.
I think the Islanders have to prove that their point streak in the beginning of the season wasn't a fluke.
With the behind the scenes the Islanders are dealing with in terms of their stadium situation, Kraut doesn't feel what happens with the Islanders on the ice going forward will have an effect on the decision down the line.
Being an Islanders fan for as long as I have, the Islanders stadium situation isn't news to me. I believe they'll find a way to play at the Coliseum until Belmont is ready to be played in, and I don't really think the playoffs will have any effect on this decision.
The Northeast Conference of the NCAA has decided to push back all sports competition until October 1st. This affects all LIU Sharks fall sports athletics teams. We will have more information on that in the upcoming weeks. For WCWP Reports, I'm Andrew Scarpacci.
WCWP Reports is a production of WCWP News. For Long Island University Public Radio, I'm Elise Person.